And True Review is back once again with another top 10 list. And following on from the back of the last video, I thought it'd only be fair to talk about how shit some of the love interests in gaming are. You know the ones I'm talking about. The romance options where you think, no fucking way am I getting with you. Or even characters who might be a decent person, but would be terrible for the character you're playing as. The rules for this list are, they either have to be characters you end up romancing against your will, thanks to the story, or they can be romance options. So if you can't romance them, or your character never gets with them, then they don't count. And finally, as before, this list will include both male and female characters, regardless of your character's gender. We all good? Because these next 10 aren't. Hit it! Juno Eclipse. You know, love can spring up in the most unlikely of places. But it's usually not the first place you look. I get that Starkiller has had a sheltered life, and that he hasn't been able to go to many places. He was kidnapped by Darth Vader as a kid, raised in secret, and trained/tortured to be a Sith apprentice since a young age. And now that Vader has let him off the leash somewhat to do his bidding, he's able to see a little bit of the world. But literally the first girl he bumps into, possibly ever seen before in his life, in the form of his taxi driver called Juno Eclipse, happens to be the girl he falls for. And I wouldn't even say that he fell for her, cause sure, there's a bit of sexual tension, but that's it. The problem is that she's got nothing going for her. She argues a bit. Oh well, it's gotta be true love then, isn't it? And then in the sequel, she falls in love with your clone. I mean, yeah, you're dead by then, but she's technically cheating on you with you. I don't even know how to get my head around that. It's almost like the plot itself is telling her who to have feelings for, instead of having them herself. On a side note, if you abbreviate the title of this game, then you get Shut the Fuck Up. Serana! I was reluctant to put her on here because I honestly believe that Serana has some fantastic qualities. She's level-headed, she's somewhat caring, she's hot, I'll give her that and then some, and she's powerful as well. But I think we're all sweeping the underlying issue here under the rug, and I'm not one to ignore a lumpy rug in the middle of the room. Serana has some major baggage. I appreciate that it's not her fault, as what her family got up to on a cold winter's night was all thanks to her father and the Daedric Prince of Corruption's doing, but you can still tell that it's weighing her down in her voice alone. But don't forget that at the end of the day, she's still a vampire. Okay, she's shown some amazing restraint, and you can rest easy at night knowing that your neck is safe from her. However, she still needs human blood to survive. So if you were to start a relationship with her, she's going to need food. And you're going to have to help her with that. And things will get complicated. Vampires by their very nature are social pariahs, and if you want to get with her, then you'll become an outcast as well, just for being associated with her. A true romance partner is supposed to open doors for you in life. Serana, on the other hand, despite her best intentions, will naturally be closing many of those doors in turn, and will force you to commit acts that are somewhat morally questionable. And is that really what you want from a relationship? It's best not to get involved is what I'm saying. Your soul does better, even if she is a drug dealer. Elena Fisher! To this day, I will never understand why so many people liked Elena. I thought she was crap! She's like a nagging mother to the Uncharted series, always criticising Drake and rolling her eyes whenever he so much twitched a muscle. But anyway, they got together at the end of Uncharted 1 as expected. But by the second game, they had broken up. Okay, what happened there? Actually, never mind. Chloe was way hotter and more appealing, so just go with her. Oh, Elena's back. And once again, at the end of the game, Nathan and Elena got back together. Well, I guess it's meant to be then. Except in Uncharted 3, it turns out that they were engaged to be married, but broke up again. Listen, Drake, I don't know if it's you or her, but this relationship is not sustainable. Please, for the love of God, take my advice and boot Elena off a cliff. That way you know she won't be coming back in the next game, and you can go off and get with someone who you know you're not going to be breaking up with constantly. 2 breakups and a cancelled engagement should make it perfectly clear that you and Elena don't belong together. And I think that you know that, though it's clear that she's oblivious to it. Nick Carlyle! You know what? Nick's a decent guy. The kind of guy who's part of the school's soccer team, but is still very caring and could well be future husband material. It's just a shame that he's a fucking severed head. Okay, I understand that he's in this position thanks to Juliet's knowledge of black magic or whatever, but I don't think he's the best for you right now, girl. But thanks to your efforts, the most Nick could ever be is a good friend to you. Want a husband and start a family? Well, though you could still get married, the family part just went out the window, along with his body, which is now being used to feed the hungry zombies. And I'd argue that he wouldn't even make for a decent friend right now either. Just imagine what he's going through. His life has been turned into a nightmare, where his psychotic girlfriend occasionally uses him as a projectile weapon. So maybe Majuli is the bad one here, but it stands to reason that Nick is going to be of no comfort to her either. After all, he's the one who's going to need support. Barret Wallace! Yes. Oh yes. You don't have to go for Eris/Aerith or Tifa. Why would you not go for Tifa? But anyway, yes. Because there's another option open to you, and that's Barret Wallace himself. Which is just awkward. Not because he's a dude and you're a dude or anything like that, but because it's quite obvious that neither of you are interested in each other. Yet the game still gives you the option of going on a date with him. Probably for the yucks. A date where you both just sit there in dead silence, waiting for the date to be over. You know what, I don't think this is going to work out, guys. No matter what way you look at the situation, it's just fucked. And Barret Wallace don't like being fucked by anyone except Mrs. Wallace. Does he look like a bitch?
Mambo number 5.
Any Gigolo mission, gal. Friendly word of warning. If you're looking to hook up with a girl and have a lasting relationship, then please don't go to Killer is Dead for advice, because this scenario just flat out does not happen in the real world. But we already knew that. But even if it did, then I'm sure that girls who are turned on by a guy with only one arm, who's staring at their chest as hard as he can before giving them gifts of chewing gum and saying absolutely nothing else, are probably not the type of girl you should be looking for. I don't think it's possible to score in a nightclub or a bar by going up to a random girl, standing next to her, not saying a word the entire time, and placing a very large box in front of her. I'm no romance expert to be sure, but I think that maybe, just maybe, that's not how picking up women works. Correct me if I'm wrong. But not here, because after getting plied with enough chewing gum to see you through to the morning, these girls get wetter than a mermaid's pocket, and you've gained the right to carve another notch into that arm you stole from Diggerland or wherever the fuck you got it from. Preston Garvey! Originally I was going to put either Piper or Paladin Dance on here, but then I suddenly remembered. Preston fucking Garvey.
Another settlement has sent word that they need our help. We have another settlement that's in trouble. I'll mark it on your map. I've gotten word about a settlement that's being threatened by raiders. A pack of ghouls has holed up near a settlement.
Please, no!
I got word of a settlement that needs our help.
No!
If having to deal with this dickhead wasn't bad enough, then Fallout 4 was gracious enough to also give us the option of starting a relationship with him. Funniest thing is, if you do this, he pretty much tells you that if it wasn't for you, he would have given up by now. So if you just ignore all of his demands to help out other settlements, then it stands to reason that he'll eventually jack the whole thing in and kill himself. Problem solved. And you want to know how to raise his affection with you? Again, it's helping out other settlements. So just remember, every time you help out a settlement, Preston's dick gets a little harder. Catherine! Don't get me wrong, she's stunning, but there's a reason for that, and I'm calling succubus. Which she is. Catherine, aka Sexy Catherine, first appears as this free-spirited girl who's taken one look at you and thought, yep, I want me some of that, and has moved in for the kill. She ends up back at your place, at which point, Vincent starts freaking out because he's already got a girlfriend who's just bad for him, if I'm honest. So in theory, this all worked out well, apart from the cheating part of it. Well, not quite, because this new girl is hiding something from you. She's actually a demon of sorts, whose sole purpose is to seduce guys who are already in a relationship, thus making them participate in that weird nightmare where if you die in it, then you die for real. Which I'd also argue makes Catherine a catfish. Okay, she's not actually a 40-year-old guy pretending to be a hot model, Erica, but this is technically false advertising and I can take you to court over that. I'm not getting what I was advertised. I was looking for a hot blonde, not a mythological demon. Anders! Fuck off, Anders. Oh, alright, I suppose I better put a bit more effort into it than that. Anders is such a whiny little pussy. I've never seen a character like this before, who spent the entire game on the verge of tears because of fucking anything. Some people may have warmed to him. Some people who possess a motherly/fatherly quality about them may have thought of trying to comfort him and going, there, Anders, it'll be okay. You don't need to worry, I'm here for you. Unfortunately for him, I'm not one of those people. If someone is experiencing a serious issue, or is understandably under stress, then sure, I'll support them. But if it's over something so fucking minuscule, or if it's over anything and everything, then I'm more likely to turn around and say, fucking suck it up, will you? Why don't you get a grip? Yes, bad stuff is happening, but what the hell do you think this party of mine is for? We're not here to tour the lands, we're here to sort it out. Look, I recognise that I'm a typical guy. When something shit happens, my first thought is to deal with it and get it resolved as soon as possible, because if there's no problem, then there's no worry. And the fastest way to overcome an issue is to tackle it as soon as possible. What I'm not gonna do is let the problem sit for fucking ages and go off to the nearest person to cry about it. Fucking deal with it. So now we know what sort of person Anders is. Would you really want that as your romantic partner? 'Cause I bloody well don't. Even if he was a hot model, I'd still be walking away because he'd/she'd be getting on my nerves faster than you could say something that's very fast. I don't know, I couldn't think of something on the spot. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Princess Elise! And you can fuck off and all. Hands down the most unrealistic... Well, we already knew that. But it's just so hard to accept this relationship, or hint of a relationship, that Sonic and Elise has in this game. At least it'd be somewhat believable if Sonic and Amy got together. And while I'm not suggesting that species should stick to their own species, hey, if you want to fuck a horse then that's your business, I still don't see how we're expected to take Sonic and Elise seriously. It's like the most cheesiest and awkward pairing and interaction that you could possibly think of in gaming. Like, if I said to you, if you had to put two characters together, which two would make the worst couple? And some of you might go, I don't know, Mario and Kratos from God of War. I'd probably say, hey, could you imagine Sonic the Hedgehog and Princess Elise getting together? Jeez, that'd be absolute bottom of the ocean floor worst, wouldn't it? Oh wait, the Sonic team already did that. And you don't even need to finish this game to understand how bad, awkward, and creepy this relationship is, and therefore, Princess Elise, and I guess Sonic as well, makes it in at number 1 on this list. Hey, guess what? This video just ended! But if you want to see Mario and Kratos from God of War hook up, then like this video and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget that I'm on Twitter and Patreon, and you can find both of those links in the description below. And that's all we have time for, so I'm gonna bounce. But until next time, see ya!
Sometimes I think